Oh, hello, great readers. I'm Bel-Chan.
I'm Mekong.
I'm Ban-Chan.
In this class, I'll read to all of you a part of Great Expectations.
As.
Ah.
Great Expectations. Charles Dickens. Chap. 11th Sec 2. I crossed the staircase landing and entered the room she indicated. From that room to the daylight was completely excluded, and it had an earnest smell that was oppressive. A fire had been lately kindled in the damp old-fashioned grate, and it was more disposed to go out than to burn up. Our own marsh mist. Certain wintry branches of kindles on the high chimney piece faintly lighted the chamber, or it would be more expressive to say, faintly troubled its darkness. It was spacious, and I dare say had once been handsome, but every discernible thing in it was covered with dust and mold, and dropping to pieces. The most prominent object was a long table with a table spread on it, stopped together. An epignose centrepiece of some kind was in the middle of this cloth. It was so heavily overhung with cobwebs that its form was quite indistinguishable. And then, like a black fungus, I saw speckle-legged spiders with blotchy bodies running home to it, and running out from it. Community. I heard the mice too, rattling behind the panels, as if the same occurrence were important to their interests. That the black beetles took no notice of the agitation, and groped about the hearth in a ponderous elderly way, as if they were short-sighted and hard of hearing, and not on terms with one another. These crawling things had fascinated my attention, and I was watching them from a distance, when Miss Havisham laid a hand upon my shoulder. In her other hand she had a crush-headed stick on which she leaned, and she looked like the witch of the place. This, said she, pointing to the long table with her stick, is where I will be laid when I am dead. Die at once. The complete realization of the ghastly waxwork at the fair. I shrank under her touch. What do you think that is? She asked me, again pointing with her stick. That. I can't guess what it is. It's a great cake. A bride cake. She looked all around the room in a glaring manner, and then said, leaning on me while her hand touched my shoulder, Come. Walk me. I made out from this that the work I had to do was to walk Miss Havisham round and round the room. Accordingly, I started at once, and she leaned upon my shoulder. My first impulse under that roof of Mr. Pumblekish's cart. She was not physically strong, and after a little time said, Slora, still. We went at an impatient, fitful speed, and as we went, she twitched the hand upon my shoulder and worked her mouth, and led me to believe that we were going fast because her thoughts went fast. After a while she said, had done on the previous occasion, when her light appeared, I returned to Miss Havisham, and we started away again round and round the room. If only Estella had come to be a spectator of our proceedings, I should have felt sufficiently discontented. Simplo. I didn't know what to do. In my politeness, I would have stopped. But Miss Havisham touched my shoulder. Was all my doing. Dear Miss Havisham, said Miss Sarah Pocket. I do not, returned Miss Havisham. Camilla brightened when Miss Pocket met with this rebuff, and she murmured, as she plaintively contemplated Miss Havisham, poor dear soul, certainly not to be expected to look well. Poor thing. And how are you? Said Miss Havisham to Camilla, as we were close to Camilla then. I would have stopped as a matter of course. Only Miss Havisham wouldn't stop. We swept on, and I felt that I was highly obnoxious to Camilla. Thank you, Miss Havisham, she returned. Why, what's the matter with you? Asked Miss Havisham, with exceeding sharpness. Nothing worth mentioning, replied Camilla. I don't wish to make a display of my feelings. Then don't think of me, retorted Miss Havisham. Very easily said, remarked Camilla, amiably repressing a sob, while a hitch came into her upper lip, and her tears overflowed. The night. Raymond is a witness what nervous jerkings I have in my legs. Chokings and nervous jerkings. However, are nothing new to me when I think with anxiety of those I love. If I could be less affectionate and sensitive, I should have a better digestion and an iron set of nerves. I am sure I wish it could be so. But as to not thinking of you in the ninth idea, here, a burst of tears. The Raymond referred to, I understood to be the gentleman present, and him I understood to be Mr. Camilla. He came to the rescue at this point, and said in a conciliatory and complimentary voice, Camilla, my dear. I am not aware, observed the grave lady whose voice I had heard but once, that to think of any person is to make a great claim upon that person. Miss Sarah Pocket, whom I now saw to be a little dry, barren, corrugated old woman, with a small face that might have been made of walnut shells, and a large mouth like a cat without the whiskers, supported this position by saying, Indeed, my dear. Thinking is easy enough, said the grave lady. What is easier? You know, assent Miss Sarah Pocket. Well, S, cried Camilla, whose fermenting feelings appeared to rise from her legs to her bosom. It's all very true. It's a weakness to be so affectionate, but I can't help it. No doubt my health would be much better if it was otherwise. Still, I wouldn't change my disposition if I could. It's the cause of much suffering, but it's a consolation to know I possess it. When I wake up in the night, hear another burst of feeling. Miss Havisham and I had never stopped all this time, but kept going round and round the room, now brushing against the skirts of the visitors, now giving them the whole length of the dismal chamber. There's Matthew, said Camilla, never mixing with any natural ties, never coming to see how Miss Havisham is. I have taken to the sofa with my stylus cut, and have lain there as insensible. with my head over the side, and my hair all done. What high then your head? My love, said Mister, I have gone off into that state. Hours and hours. On account of Matthew's strange and inexplicable conduct. Really, I must say I should think not, interposed the grave lady. You see, my dear, added Miss Sarah Pocket, a bluntly vicious personage. The question to put to yourself is, who did you expect to thank you without expecting any thanks? Or anything of the sort, resumed Camilla. I have remained in that state. Hours and hours. And Raymond is a witness of the extent to which I have choked, and what the total inefficacy of ginger has been. And I have been heard at the pianoforte tuners across the street. Distinction now to be told her, Camilla put her hand to her throat, and began to be quite chemical as to the formation of new combinations there. When the same Matthew was mentioned, Miss Evesham stopped me and herself, and stood looking at the speaker. This change had a great influence in bringing Camilla's chemistry to a sudden end. Matthew will come in and see me at last, said Miss Evesham sternly, when I am laid on that table. That will be his place there, striking the table with her stick. At my head. And yours will be there. And your husband's there. And Sarah Parkett's there. And Georgina's there. Then, at the mention of each name, she had struck the table with her stick in a new place. She now said, walk me. Walk me. And we went on again. I suppose there's nothing to be done, exclaimed Camilla, but comply and depart. Short a time. And I wish Matthew could have that comfort, but he sets it at defiance. I am determined not to make a display of my feelings. One was a giant and to be told to go. Mr. Camilla interposing. As mice. Camilla laid her hand upon her heaving bosom. An intention to drop and choke went out of view, and kissing her hand to Miss Havisham, was escorted forth. Sarah Pocket and Georgiana contended who should remain last, but Sarah was too knowing to be outdone. Precedence. Sarah Pocket then made her separate effect of departing with, to be continued.